am recording this webinar, and we will be sending out the recording at the end of the webinar today, and all of the contact information. And thank you so much for joining us. Just want to say that again. I see quite a few of you have joined since we started here, so we just thank you so much for spending your time with us. We know it's precious. So a couple things about the different companies with us today. And since we do have Dawn with us with Acumatica, I wanted to go ahead and let Dawn introduce herself on behalf of Acumatica and just talk about the umbrella ERP that we're going to be relating all these solutions with today.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do so. I'm the Director of Partner Recruiting for Acumatica, and I'm so pleased to say that everyone that is going to be talking this afternoon is part of the Acumatica team. We value our partners greatly, and without our partners, nothing gets done. So Acumatica, just a blanket statement here, we are a true cloud ERP solution. We have no legacy product. We were developed from the cloud, for the cloud, from the ground up. It is a true solution that gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility. You can deploy it anywhere you'd like. You can subscribe to the software. You can purchase the software. It's really sky's the limit here. We have a lot of competitive advantages, and part of that advantage is actually the partners that we have working with us. So feel free afterwards to reach out to any of us for more information. I in particular would be happy to represent Acumatica, and you can, at the end there will be a poll so you can state which products or products you might be interested in. But at this point, since we have so much to cover, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's participating today.
Thank you so much for that, Dawn. And we have Kinzium with us. Kinzium specializes in designing, developing, and integrating solutions on the Acumatica Cloud ERP. They specialize in Magento e-commerce platforms. They're Magento 2 certified, Magento Enterprise Partner. They're the largest team of Acumatica certified developers. And Magento is so popular out there, and they've developed this great integration with Acumatica. We have JAMS with us. The JAS system specializes in software solutions for manufacturing companies. They have advanced manufacturing software, and it integrates seamlessly with Acumatica Cloud ERP. It offers complete multi-site manufacturing planning, control system, and integrates your production planning shop floor with customer management, sales orders, inventory, purchasing, accounting, financial reporting. And the solution delivers powerful and complete functionality for make-to-stock, make-to-order, engineer-to-order, project-centric, job-repetitive, batch processing manufacturing environments. We also have Scanco with us. They've been a leader in WMS applications for the mid-market ERP since 1989. It meets thousands of distribution and manufacturing companies' requirements because it provides an integrated real-time WMS application on those handheld iOS, Androids, and Windows devices. We also have Starship with us. Starship automates the shipping with many different leading ERPs, including Acumatica. They've been developing these solutions since 1989. They have very strong partnerships with UPS, FedEx, and a wide range of carriers, including small parcel, regional, and LTL. They launched the Acumatica interface in 2016, and as I said, it adds Acumatica to a large list of mid-market ERPs such as Sage and Microsoft Dynamics included. We also have APS with us, American Payment Solutions. They're a leading merchant solutions provider, and they can get the best rates because of their relationships with the banks and their level 3 credit card processing. They have thousands of small, medium, and large organizations as clients. So we welcome all of you with us today. Just a short summary of what we'll be talking about. We're going to be talking about how an order comes in through the Kinzium Magento interface through their e-commerce portal. And the order gets placed, and if it needs to be manufactured, it goes into the JAM system integrated in Acumatica so that all that information about the bill of materials, work order, production scheduling, everything is fed back into Acumatica. And then it goes into Scanco for picking and packing in the warehouse with those iOS, Android, Windows mobile devices with the warehouse personnel. All of the details of the shipment goes into Starship, of the packaging, goes into Starship, and based on all the criteria of the shipment, Starship picks the most ideal carrier for the most cost-efficient delivery mechanism for that package, and all that information, tracking number, all the details goes back into Acumatica. Accounts receivable is updated, and if a credit card is the preferred form of payment, American Payment Solutions will get the best rate for that credit card transaction, and everything will be updated in the Kinsium e-commerce portal. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and let Rahul talk about his e-commerce platform. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for that nice introduction. I'll reiterate a couple of points really quickly. So Kinsium is a Magento enterprise partner and also Acumatica's official e-commerce partner, and we've built the connector between Acumatica and Magento. So Magento is the world's leading e-commerce platform, and it is also the official e-commerce platform for Acumatica. Right? So what I have here on the screen is a very basic demo site that is set up for Acumatica demonstration. So this site is typically how a Magento front-end site would look like, and obviously can be fully customized, can be fully integrated, and with any solution and so on. So let me briefly go through some of the, how an order would come in and how it would go into Acumatica, and then I'll also cover a couple of other things in terms of what Acumatica contains for the Commerce Edition and being able to connect to Magento and so on. Okay. So within Acumatica, you have the distribution module, and the distribution module has the inventory management, and within inventory management you have stock items, right? So this is where you would define all of your stock items relating that you're selling and that you're manufacturing and so on. So let's pick this Acer laptop computer that's out here. So one of the things that you will see within the Acumatica framework is that it's built for e-commerce already. So you have an e-commerce tab that's here. So within the e-commerce tab, you can manage the visibility on how the product should behave on the front end on a Magento website, whether you want to show it only when somebody searches for it, whether you want to only show it on the catalog side when somebody is browsing through it, or you want to show it in both the situations or not show the product at all on the front end, but then show the parent product. You can also manage your URL keys, the meta tags, the descriptions, the upsell and cross sells, which is basically things that you show on your product page as to people that bought this product also bought something else and so on. Right? And one of the interesting things that you'll see here is that there is the item status here. So this within an ERP tells you that the item is active and you can perform transactions against it, which includes the warehouse transfers, the creation of purchase orders, sales orders, and so on. But you'll also see an active flag here, and this indicates when this product should be pushed to the website and when it is available for sale on the website. Right? So typically, when you're launching a new product, you're trying to define all of your the product attributes, you're manufacturing it, you're stocking it in your warehouse, and so on. So you can do all those activities without the product automatically going onto the website. And when you're ready to sell it, you mark it as active, and then at that point, it gets synced to the website. In addition to that, you also have the ability to define your attributes, your images, so you can definitely load more than one product image here. One of the things that's unique about Acumatica is also that it allows you to define multiple sales categories. right? So most ERPs typically deal with item classes, and typically an item can only belong to one class. But in this particular case, this item can belong to multiple sales categories, right? So it could be in computers, it could be in electronics, it could be in on a sale, on sale, and so on, right? So you can define multiple sales categories here. So in the configuration, one of the things that you'll also see is the ability to manage your sales categories within Acumatica, right? So on the Acumatica backend, you can define your categories, and you can push these categories into Magento, right? So for those that are familiar with the Magento e-commerce interface, this is the backend. So if you're looking at the categories inside of Magento, you will see that this tree structure mimics everything that's there on the Magento side. And again, even for any one of these items, you can actually define your e-commerce attributes, and those same things will appear on the Magento side as well in terms of managing your content, the display settings, and the name and URLs and all that stuff. Right? So anything that you see on the website on the front end, there's a one-to-one mapping between that and an entity in Acumatica. So that makes it very easy for you to manage your website, where you can define everything in Acumatica and then push it to your website easily. Okay. And so coming back to the stock items. So most ERPs also typically deal with stock items that are manufactured and so on. But Acumatica also has the ability to define your configurations when you're trying to sell the product, right? So for example, if you're trying to sell, let's say a computer needs to be assembled. A customer can come in and pick and choose the CPU that they want, the hard disk that they want, the monitor they want, and so on. So all those would be defined in what's called as a bundle product. And then if you're looking at let's say you're selling clothing or furniture or something like that, where you're defining a size, color matrix, that's a configurable product. So you can also define those. And then a grouped is basically, think of it like a kit, a virtual kit, where you're combining 2 or 3 different products and creating a grouped item. And you can also sell downloadable products like your music, audio and video files and so on. And you can also handle your virtual items like your warranty and so on, which is a non-stock item right here. So these are typically the data types or the product types that are available within a Magento implementation. And you have the exact same items that are also available on the Acumatica side. So that makes it very easy to configure your products and then sell it on the website. So with that, let me quickly go through and place an order here. So I'm already logged in. So let's go in and look at my cart. For the purposes of this demo, I've already placed an item in the cart, so we don't have to go through the actual browsing and adding to the cart functionality. So when I'm looking at this shopping cart, give me a second to load. Okay, so I've already logged in. So the reason why it's taking a few seconds is because I'm already logged in. So the system is automatically going to going to the FedEx account that is configured here, and then pulling in the rates. And you can, by default, when you set up Magento, you can connect it to FedEx, UPS, USPS, and DHL, and so on. Some of these systems, I mean, these are the same systems that you can configure in Acumatica as well. So there is a one-to-one mapping there also, right? So let me select FedEx Ground and say next. So at this time, since I've already logged in, the system is going to give me the payment methods that are available. And if I select credit card, because I've already done a payment once before, it's going to show me my previously used payment. And this is all PCI compliant. We are storing tokens and so on. And one of the nice things about this with Acumatica is that because we are using a tokenized payment method, the tokens are passed on to Acumatica, which allows you to do things like doing an authorization at the time of a customer making a purchase, and then capturing that amount only when you're doing the shipments, because that gives you the benefit that if you're trying to deal with, let's say, a back-ordered item, or the item is is going to be delayed, or it's a dropship item, so you can make sure that the item is available before you charge the card, so that reduces your customer service challenges and so on. All right, so let me just place an order here. So at this point, when I'm placing an order, the system is validating my credit card, generating the order number and so on, and it created an order number here. So this order would automatically be, let's look at this order on the Magento admin, right? So if I go in and look at sales and orders, this is the Magento administration portal. And this is also fully responsive, which means that you can access it from any tablet device to manage your website and so on, even if you're traveling. And so one of the things that you will see is that, what's the order number that I had? It's 98. So order number 98 is the first one that is here, and you will see that it already received an Acumatica order number, right? So let's go in and look at this order from Acumatica. So I go into Acumatica, go to sales orders, open the sales order screen, and let's pick this order, and I'll select the date by descending so you can see the latest one. So 278 is right here, right? So you'll see that the order has come in, and I can see the shipping settings, which shows what I have selected in terms of the FedEx ground. You can see my totals with all the details, and this is in now, right? So at this point, the order can be processed within Acumatica. We'll see from JAMS in terms of how the manufacturing will happen, and then you'll also see how the shipment will go through within the Acumatica system later in the demo. And once the shipment is created, I've also pulled in an order within Magento as to what the customer would see, right? So once the shipment is processed within Acumatica, you will see that the shipment data is pulled in. You'll see the tracking numbers here, and depending on whether it's a FedEx or UPS, when you click on track the shipment, it'll take you to the FedEx or UPS portal to show the current tracking status and so on. Right, so this is something this is all functionality that's out of the box. So I'll take 1 minute to show you the different entities that we sync. So this is Magento, and the connector is right here. This is a native connector. There is no third-party system. It talks directly to Acumatica. And if I look at the configuration settings here, you'll see that the connection parameters can be defined here. The logs can be set up, so every transaction is logged. And within the sync configuration, this is where you'll see all the different entities that are synced between Magento and Acumatica. So you can manage your warehouses, attributes. If you're creating a product or a customer attribute in Acumatica that comes into Magento, you can sync your categories, products, inventory and price, images, the configurator, which is all the configurations and the bundles that you define, and the customers, orders, and so on. In orders, you'll notice that I have the real-time sync set to enable, which is why as soon as the order was placed, it moved into Acumatica, right? So if I disable this, then I can set it up to run on a scheduler as well. And it also allows you to do shipments. And if for some reason the order could not go through, because let's say somebody forgot to create a product in Acumatica and only created it on the website, and the order will come and stay on the website. And then once you create, you can basically sync the failed orders as well. And the last thing that I wanted to show is the flexibility in terms of the mapping, right? So you can define your products, your customers, and so on. And let's say on a customer, you'll see a list of all the attributes that exist within Magento. And these are all the attributes that exist for a customer within Acumatica. And you can go in at an attribute level and say what maps to what. And then you can also indicate what's the direction of the sync. Is it going from Acumatica to Magento, Magento to Acumatica? Or is it bidirectional, in which case does one system have preference over another one, and so on. So it's pretty configurable, and of course, like Acumatica, Magento is also a very flexible system, so you can completely configure any element within both Acumatica and Magento. So with that, I will transition this to JAMS, who will show their manufacturing piece, where they will demonstrate the computer and so on. Tom?
Yep, got it. You should be able to see my screen. Is that correct?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name's Tom Van Cleef. I'm with JAWS Systems, and today I'm going to talk to you very briefly about our manufacturing control capability. As you've just heard, all of the different ways to elegantly bring in an order. Now, once the order is in the house, it needs to be built, purchase items need to be assembled, if you will, manufacturing needs to occur. In addition to just having them come in as orders, we also offer the capability to do product configuration. This way, you would be able to say this computer needs this hard drive, and if it does have that, it can have these monitors, where you can have inclusion and exclusion logic on multiple levels. This would work for any number of companies that have items that or options in their product. The other way is through estimation. This would be where you would actually devise products. They do not need to be in inventory. You can build routing. You can create planning bills of material so that you can cost an entire estimate, regardless of how complex, and have it then go back in as a sales order and come into JAMS as a production order. What I'd like to be able to do starting here is to, on the bill of materials, we combine bill of materials and routings together, so that when we would go and find our, let's see, our laptop computer, we're going to be able to take material steps and bring them in at operational steps. From there, we're going to be able to track all types of cost, all types of time, if you will, from labor, from machine, from tools, from employees. From a make-to-order perspective, you would be able to take in any type of order. You would be able to save this bill of materials forever. You'd be able to have any number of revisions that you'd like to have to it. So we are going to always retain a bill of material as is through history. You'd actually be able to go back and rebuild the exact item in years gone past. I mentioned work centers. We have no limitations on work centers. The thing that you must do for production is to have at least one. You can have hundreds of them. Each one of those will have its ability to have its own calendar, its own overhead rate, its machines, as well as being able to plan labor directly to it. We are also allowed to, or able to backflush parts at the end of an operation versus at the end of the production run. And as a result of all of these, we're able to do very flexible bill of material capable manufacturing. If you need to replace an item, all you would need to do is put in that item, find its critical path, replace it with a new one, and do so on a time frame. So we now have bill of materials. We now know what we're going to build. We now have the ability to create a production order, or actually the production order would be automatically created for us as a result. From a production order, obviously we're going to be able to add labor. We're going to be able to move it. We're going to be able to time the moves if you'd like, or it's just could be, if you will, slough time. Materials can be added at each step along the way, or even inner operation in a work center. We are able to do simultaneous. We're able to do make to stock. We can do process up to formulation level. And the engineer to order, obviously, and the product configurator make for the front end on a make to order environment. Now, the last portion I'd like to talk about is an accumulation of all of this in material requirements planning. You have the ability to build forecasts, compare them to last year's sales. You're able to take replenishment based on items used in the past, as well as exploding forecast, customer order. All of that demand will go into the MRP, to where it will plan the builds, the purchases to customer due date. Finally, I would say to you that in all of these areas, every move that you would make, every transaction you would do is going to be distributed throughout the system to the AR, to the, or to the general ledger, so that transactions, whether they be from the sales order perspective coming from Kenzium, into us. Once we have created this item and built it, we're then going to be able to do a shipment transaction for that, whether it's to stock or for a particular customer. So I think that's where I'll leave it now, since time is short. And let me pass the screen to, who am I passing it to? Okay. To Scanco.
All right, got it now. So I definitely appreciate you guys walking us through getting that order into Acumatica, and then showing us how we can can produce that. So there's two quick pieces that I'm actually going to cover here. The first one is, now that you've kind of seen how JAMS operates and the capabilities of tracking these production orders and having the value adds of your labor and the cost of the work centers, is what happens when you want to actually automate that on the floor. So Scanco does have a product called XScan, and that is going to be our shop floor solution. Both of the solutions that we're going to be looking at today, XScan and Acumatica Warehouse, are native applications on iOS and Android platforms. So you'll see here that I am just using an iPod. I'm going to go ahead and launch XScan, and you're going to see those same basic transactions out of JAMS now in a easy format here on the shop floor, whether you're using an iPod with a scanner, a touchscreen tablet, or a fixed mount Android terminal. Whatever you're using, you're going to be able to operate and automate the transactions to make this a little easier and quicker to really utilize all the functionality of JAMS. A material issue is exactly what it sounds like. That's where we're issuing to those production orders. We can have what we call a barcoded work order or production traveler, and it's going to look something like this, where we can add barcodes. We kind of exaggerate this for demo purposes, but these barcodes contain not just the item that we're producing, but can also contain the work center and the steps. That way, with one scan, we're easily able to say, okay, this is the work order, and this is my work center and step that I'm on. And we also barcode the employees' information on name badges if you want, or just on a kind of, I call the Home Depot approach, on a cheat sheet sitting on a workstation. That way, if you want to track any of your time card or labor, they quickly have that to be able to scan. So if I want to, we'll say we want to do time card, we can just quickly come over here and scan our badge. We can do a lookup. So maybe we don't want to actually scan it, or you don't want to print out the barcode. You can just look this up, and they can go ahead and choose their name or search for that. And it's automatically going to clock them in or out based on whatever they're currently not doing. So if they're clocked in now, it clocks them out. And then, of course, it'll clock them in automatically if they're already clocked out. Once we go through the entire production process and we've issued all our materials, we can even update statuses. It's not enabled on this screen, but you can do status updates as well. When we want to complete that production order, we can just simply come into production entry. We can, once again, do a lookup, or we can scan based on whatever your preference is. And when we choose that, it's going to fill everything out, ask us how many we've completed, and then at this point, when we send that through, it's going to just go ahead and create all the transactions that are necessary in JAMS. So automating that production on the shop floor is going to be huge time saving, and also allow a lot of accuracy and a lot of analytics into exactly what's going on. All of this is working completely real time back into Acumatica and JAMS. So if you're using dashboards, you're going to see all these transactions coming in as they're happening. So once we've completely automated that manufacturing process, now we want to actually go through and perform our warehouse, our picking, our packing, maybe transfers, physical counts. All of that's going to be handled with our warehouse application. Once again, this is iOS, so you'll see it's a very easy interface. And you'll notice that we can just quickly change between the two as well. So if you have some mixed roles where a user might be a material handler and they're doing some issues and some transfers, those applications can just switch on the fly. When we go into our transactions, I'll first start at utilities just to kind of show you what the software looks like. We have our item inquiries are our locators. So if I want to go into a locator by item, it's going to ask the warehouse. It defaults to the warehouse that you're typically working in based on the login. And then it's asking for an item. So I could just scan an item and it's going to give me the information as far as the bin locations it's in, quantity available on hand, etc. If we want to look at a different item, all we have to do is just go back, scan our different item. So here we have our laptop, and I can see everywhere that this item exists in our warehouse. So for our sales order, we have a couple different methods. You can do a confirm picks is what it's called. Confirm picks is going to be in our next release, and that's basically when you're doing the packaging or pre-allocating the material. The confirm picks is going to guide that user exactly where to get it. But for the sake of time today, I'm only going to show more of the last process, or that actual shipping process where we're creating the shipment inside of Acumatica. So when we go in, we need to enter a sales order. Typically, you're just going to have a barcoded pick ticket, and we'll scan that sales order. You can also search by typing in partial characters or do a lookup. I'm going to go ahead and just scan my sales order here. It validates that that sales order is good, gives me the basic header information, as far as the customer, which warehouse, and now I can start scanning the items if it was already picked in the staging location. But if I need to see the items that are on there, we can just go in as a lookup, and I can see not only the items that are on there, but the quantity ordered, how many are left to pick, and then my available quantity total in that warehouse. So if your items are not barcoded, which is very common, you can actually still use the system by either manually typing that in or just tapping on the item in the lookup screen. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and scan my item. I have our bin location. So you can scan a bin location, or if you don't have your bin locations barcoded, you just go ahead and choose the bin from the lookup, and then you're just typing in your quantity. If you don't want to type in quantities, you'll notice a toggle here called Scan Each. Turns it into what I call the grocery store mode. If that's enabled, every time you scan an item, it counts as a quantity of 1. So we'll go ahead and ship this item. And once we are done, we can review what I've done on this order by clicking the review at the top. Or if you are completed, you can actually hit send, and that's going to create the shipment for that sales order inside Acumatica. So not only are we validating that it's the right sales order, the right items, if I scan something that's not the correct item, it's going to let me know that it's not on that sales order. So it's going to stop them from shipping the wrong item. But we've also eliminated all of that manual entry of trying to figure out the handwriting, quantity shipped, the serial numbers or lot numbers that they're writing down now, and trying to key those back into Acumatica. All of that's eliminated, and you'll just go directly in and be able to process through Starship. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Caroline. That way you can see how that process will work from here.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody. Okay, so once you've used the ScanCo solution to create the shipment, you're basically ready to ship your products out. And this is the Starship ship screen. This is our multi-carrier, multi-mode application that's directly connected to your Acumatica shipments, as well as orders if you wanted to ship against orders. So this is going to allow you to just scan or enter an Acumatica shipment number. Starship will go out to the Acumatica shipment, pull in both the header as well as the line item detail that was defined using the handheld. It'll come up on screen. It's going to translate the ship via for you. So in this case, it's selected as FedEx Ground here. All the items are going to be coming over. If the items are defined inside the packaging within the shipment, it'll also display and bring that over. This is a domestic shipment, but in cases of international or LTL, Starship can also store things like Schedule B codes or harmonized codes, classes, things that can help you automate documents for LTL or international shipments. where there's commodity level detail that's needed. I can rate shop the shipment. Starship will go out to all of the carriers that I have loaded in the application and come up with my charges here. I have them displaying least expensive to most expensive way to ship. In this instance, Starship is going directly to the carrier servers using your credentials to retrieve your actual contract rates. In addition to contract rates, we're also going to give you the ability to see list rates. And this is really used if you wanted to write the information back into Acumatica and update the freight charges. If you're using the Kenzium connector from the Magento order and the shipment shipment cost was already defined, you can also have freight rules in Starship that say, in that instance, I don't want to update the freight cost or charges. I just want to update my cost so that I can keep track of that. Starship will also come with discounted priority and express mail charges here. And in this case, you'll see priority. I can still get it there on Saturday for a couple dollars less, so I could select priority here. If I do a ship in process, Starship will communicate out to the carrier, produce the barcoded shipping labels, and then update Acumatica in real time. The shipping label can have what you see here, which is a packing list plus the shipping label on a 4x6 inch die cut here. Starship also supports printing both of these labels to a thermal label printer, so it'll print 2 labels for each box. And then you're ready to ship your next shipment. So as a result of that shipment, a couple things happened. I utilized Starship to send out my email notification. So let's just refresh this here. Take a look at the email that was sent as a result. So this is our little branded email notification. It allows you to send the information or shipment detail at the same time as you ship so that your customers can get that as quickly as possible. Tracking numbers here will communicate or connect it directly to the appropriate website. So in this case, it's going to go to the post office. You have the ability to send them back to your site, do some additional marketing there with some promo offers. And you also can define any number of templates within Starship and then have rules as far as when those templates are used. So let's go ahead and take a look at that Acumatica shipment and see how that was updated. Just going to bring that shipment back in here. Okay, so a couple of things happened here. If I go into my package tab, you'll see that this is the package that I just shipped in Starship. My tracking number has been updated along with the carrier and service. This is all configurable within Starship as far as how the Starship package gets reverse translated into Acumatica's box ID, the unit of measures, and you can define what is actually updated in these custom reference fields here. Starship can also update the status to a confirmed status, as well as update notes. And then on the shipping settings here, there's going to be a couple things that happen. Ship via will get updated with the appropriate ship via. And then the freight cost would be your negotiated rate, and the freight amount would be the freight charge that was calculated based on the freight rules within Starship. So most of these pieces of information that Starship is automatically updating in Acumatica, the Kenzium Magento connector will then bring up to your Magento order so that the customers can log into that portal to see all the information as well. And then with the freight charges, you're obviously going to want to receive these, and that's where Patty comes into play with credit card processing. So I'm going to pass it over to her.
Thank you, Caroline. Ladies and gentlemen, with Acumatica, your true cloud ERP solution, which offers the integration and offers Kenzium for your e-commerce, manufacturing with JAMS, pick and pack with ScanCo, and then shipping with Starship. You have all of this and available to you with Acumatica. Now it's just a matter of receiving a payment. And American Payment Solutions allows you to receive payments directly through Acumatica. We take advantage of information that was brought in through Kenzium, scanned with using ScanCo and then provided from the shipping solution so that we can guarantee the very lowest rates through level 3 processing. I will explain what level 3 processing is in just 1 second. I'd like to just briefly show you how simple it is to keep your credit cards within Acumatica completely PCI compliant at absolutely no charge. So you can see under finance, accounts receivable, customer payment methods, I'm able to save as many types of credit cards per customer as I need to. You'll notice that only the last 4 digits will show. The rest of the information is actually tokenized in our secure server, so you don't have to worry about it. And as I mentioned, you can store as many as you need per customer, all different card brands. Now, before I jump into a transaction and actually receive the savings, let me just show you what level 3 processing is. Anyone who has a US-based company will be able to benefit from level 3. Level 3 is a program that was designed by Visa and MasterCard, which offers to cut rates in half and sometimes even lower for any business-to-business or business-to-government transaction that happens with a company within the continental US. Yes, and I'm not exaggerating, the rates will go down. What do you as a user have to do to obtain these rates? Simply process through American Payment Solutions integrated with Acumatica. Why? Because as I mentioned in the beginning, we take fields that Visa and MasterCard require in order to qualify a transaction for level 3 directly from Acumatica, and we deliver them to Visa and MasterCard on your behalf. So we are taking advantage of the integration to the different third-party products and delivering all of the fields that you see on the right side of the screen, guaranteeing the best rates for you. Now, we typically get the question about why not just stay with Authorize.net? What is the difference between your integration and Authorize.net? I try to portray it as clearly as possible on the screen for you, but I want to underline, besides what you see on the screen, and more importantly, level 3 processing is completely automated and is only available through the American Payment Solutions integration. If you have transactions that are over $10,000, just so you get an idea, your rate can go as low as 0.03%. I'm underlining 0.03%. If you pre-authorize transactions, something that Authorize.net does not offer is the fact that if you're pre-authorizing a transaction and need to manufacture the items through JAMS, you might need more than 7 days to deliver the items, and you will not have to pre-authorize them if you process through American Payment Solutions. Other processors will limit you to 7 days and require that you pre-authorize every 7 days, which is not the case with us. And you can see the other differences. There is no setup fee, and the transaction fee pretty much 0.10%. The monthly gateway fee is also a little bit less. So there are different areas in which we are different. We also offer 12-hour funding instead of 24-hour funding. So if you back out by 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will have the funds available in your bank account the next morning by 8 a.m. So 11 to 12 hours. And I do want to show everyone what happens when you process through level 3. You can see on the screen right now the level of savings that's available to you. Notice how the current fees are fairly high. There's a $6,000, almost $7,000 a month being charged to this particular merchant. Once we analyzed the statements, we were able to save 15% on average, which means a little over $1,000 a month. This is a very typical savings when you process through level 3 processing. And once again, I'd like to underline the fact that you as a merchant will not have to do a thing out of the ordinary. We take advantage of everything that you've already keyed into Acumatica in order to provide Visa and MasterCard with the required information so that you can take advantage of the lowest fees available out there. We also guarantee our rates in writing, so you do not have to worry about the rates creeping up on you. I'm going to go ahead and finalize a transaction within Acumatica. I do want to point out the fact that you have the option to pre-authorize or process a direct capture through sales order. You can also apply payments against invoices and keep track of both the pre-authorizations for 30 days and we have an audit trail that will allow you to keep track of the captured information as well, or the captured cards. Now, what you'll see right now is very standard Acumatica functionality. You won't notice that you're outside of Acumatica for anything, and you will see that we give you the different options with regards to processing that become entirely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this order and go directly into my payment settings. Now, you can pre-authorize with the shipping amount already included, or you can leave it at 0 and just add the shipping amount at the time of capture. Now, notice how I did not have to key in all of the credit card information again. We follow Acumatica's security guidelines. So if the user is permitted to add a new card on the fly, they will be able to. They will also be able to edit or delete the card information, or just simply switch from one card to another. Now, in this case, the user was given permission to. I'm going to go ahead and authorize. Now, notice that once I clicked on authorize, you'll see that the transaction is actually going through our gateway, and you will know the transaction is complete the minute you see the check mark next to reports, and you will also see a pre-authorization number. This pre-authorization number is actually being created by our portal. Now, this is a great opportunity for me to just show you what the portal would look like. You can process transactions directly from the APS Pay portal. You can see here, if you click on sale, you'll have to key in the information. That applies to all the different types of transactions. We have a very robust reporting functionality with an immense amount of sorting criteria. We make it almost impossible for you not to find a transaction. The authorization ID that you saw within Acumatica, as I mentioned, was generated by our portal. What we will do in the portal is give you a bird's eye view of the transaction. We will let you know it's pending capture. The transaction ID will be there. We will reference either the sales order or the invoice in Acumatica, show you the last 4 digits of the credit card and the amount being authorized. If I click on the transaction ID, notice how I have an extensive level of detail regarding this particular transaction. Not only do I include the card information, of course, keeping it PCI compliant, I include the bill to, ship to, order information. We show you down to the line level detail. Now, the order could have been placed through Kenzium, imported into Acumatica. Scanco was able to get the inventory information for us, shipping information to be included. We are delivering all of that information to Visa and MasterCard on your behalf live, and we're getting that level 3 rate for you. Once again, without you having to do a thing. Now, most of the benefits that we have to offer, and this is based off of requests from particular merchants, the fact that we offer very transparent statements. We actually would like to show you how to decipher your current statements. Find out if you're getting level 3 rates. We will show you exactly where to look. And once we do provide you with a proposal, as I said, our rates are guaranteed in writing. We provide free assistance with PCI compliance. Level 3 processing is completely automated. We do not charge for credit card processing modules, setup, installation, implementation, maintenance, training, support. We provide all of that at no charge. We offer very simple gateway fees and, of course, 12-hour funding. Our support staff is available 24/7, and it is a live human being on the other side of the line, regardless of the time of day you call or the time of night. Rather than read through the remaining amount of items here, I just want to point out two things that are important. The fact that we offer a multitude of equipment options, state-of-the-art equipment at no charge to you. And we also help with cancellation fees. So with that, I would like to just mention the fact that, and if you weren't listening to the presentation up until now with regards to APS, please pay attention now. If you're interested in purchasing any of the solutions that are being presented today, or if you're new to Acumatica and would like to consider purchasing Acumatica as your new ERP, please contact me and allow me to provide you with a free analysis. Let me find you the money that's been sitting on the table so that you can buy the solutions that you need that were presented in today's webinar. With that, Adrian, I'd like to hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen with the contact information. for everybody who were presenting today. And we have quite a few questions. So, and I have a few polls. So a little interaction going on here with the audience. I'm going to launch the first poll. If you can answer this poll, that would be awesome. Are you interested in learning more about any of the following? And I have another poll. Everybody couldn't fit on this first poll, so I have another poll that's going to be referring to the e-commerce integration. So if you could just take a second and answer this poll, that would be awesome. And I'll go ahead and read off the questions. Thank you, Pierre, for your interest. Yes, this webinar is being recorded, and we will be sending out the recording link and all the contact information respectively after the webinar. So thank you for that question. And then we have a question from Doug. Does Acumatica partner with any other ERP software suppliers to provide customers with additional functionality that is not currently supported by Acumatica? Don, I'm going to go ahead and let you answer that one.
So that's an unusual question. I'm not exactly sure I'm understanding it correctly. It sounds like there's, or somebody's asking if we collaborate with other ERP vendors. Is that, am I getting the gist of that?
And I would assume, and Doug, please elaborate if you can, but I would assume maybe, you know, other third-party vendors, Don, that have not signed on with you or have not been verified. Because I think there's some other cloud vendors that are completely closed off, right?
Yep. So let me answer that in a couple ways. I mean, first of all, we are absolutely always looking for good solutions that can be integrated with Acumatica and extend the functionality, as you saw from the participants today and our ISVs and what they bring to the table. So if it's a matter of extending the solutions, I think many times Sage partners, for instance, and Sage customers will feel very comfortable making the move to Acumatica because so many of the Sage ISVs have determined that it's a good idea to link their solutions with Acumatica. So in that regard, yes. Also, sometimes when we're looking at other ERP solutions, many times it's in creating a conversion program to make it easy for a customer to move from one solution to another and converting history and data and so forth. So I guess, you know, we're always looking to collaborate. So, and if there's something I can answer more specifically, let's make sure we put the contact information up and I can elaborate more offline.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Dawn. You're just very partner friendly, and I think that's why you guys have gained so much traction. You're probably the fastest growing ERP system out there. I just see so much interest in Acumatica, and I think it's because your platform it's so open and robust, but also your abilities to manage your relationships and build relationships seems to be an asset for you guys, seems to be very attractive to the community. So you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. And we have very, very loyal partners that we wouldn't be successful without them. So we really appreciate our partners. That's our only route to market. And I think our customers also appreciate having that partner relationship. Usually somebody that's local to them, somebody who knows their business, somebody that they might have done business with in the past and so forth. So yes, very partner friendly, very fastest growing solution out there. And in large part, again, to our ISVs and the attractiveness of our product. It's a pretty complete product, and it gives you a lot of flexibility that our competitors don't.
And we have another question here for Kinzium. Is Magento B2B integrated with Acumatica? Thank you, Toon, for that question.
Yes, it is. B2B is primarily at the core a Magento solution. So yes, we do have the integrations. There are still some additional pieces that are being built, which is with respect to custom catalogs and so on, because B2B does provide catalogs at a customer level, and that functionality requires a little bit of customization, but everything else functions exactly the same way as what you've seen today.
And another question for you, Rahul. Are duplicate customers merged in Kinsium?
So it's an interesting question. I mean, so the first thing is that in an e-commerce site, an email address is used as the unique identifier, right? So that's what you use to log in. So there is the chances of having a duplicate customer when you're using Magento is less. But if you're coming from an older platform where the check was not there, that may happen. So at the time of implementation, we will try to merge those records, and we'll look at the business rules in terms of what needs to happen and set that up. And when a new order comes in, whether the customer is checking out as a guest or if they're checking in after logging in, we always check to see, what's the email address that they came in with. So the benefit is that even if somebody has created an account, let's say 6 months ago, and then the second purchase that they're making on the website is done as a guest checkout, in the ERP, we are able to see and associate these orders to the same customer record. Of course, on the sales order, you'll see whatever the customer has entered, but you'll be able to tie those into the same customer within Acumatica, which allows you to run your reports that really determine your lifetime value of the customer and so on. So you do have the flexibility of maintaining a single record when it comes to Acumatica.
And then on the Magento interface, does contract pricing come from Acumatica, or does it have to be created on the Magento side? How do you address B2B versus B2C?
Yeah, it comes from Acumatica. So in Acumatica, you can define customer-specific pricing and discounts and so on, along with credit limits and things like those, and that's what would be synced to Magento.
And then on the warehouse side, Cody, on the warehouse shipping, how are exceptions handled? Part broken or a replacement shipped instead?
Okay, so that's really going to depend on actually a lot of times existing processes. When we get into exceptions, every company handle those a little differently. So we would typically want to talk about that, see what you're doing now, and if that's working, we can kind of mirror that. If it's not, we can offer some recommendations. But obviously on the replacing, shipping something that's not on the sales order, that requires a little more because that, as I'm sure everyone can imagine, is typically not a normal sales order process, but we can work with that. We would just need to discuss that further.
And then we have another question from Toon. Thank you for your question. If customers use some of its own trucks to ship, does Starship handle those shipments?
Hi, it's Caroline. We do have user-defined carrier modules for both the parcel and LTL side, and our customers typically will use that to define their internal trucks to keep track of shipments and keep that whole workflow the same as all their other shipments. So yes.
And then we do have another question about Starship. Are you working on a web-based interface? How is it running now? Local machine or terminal server, Caroline?
Yes, we are working on our web-based interface. We hope to have it out by the end of the year. The current interface right now is running, on the machine on-prem.
And then we have a question, how do you differentiate from SAP by design with our whole package as presented today? Dawn, I don't know I know you used to work for SAP, so maybe you have your best position to answer the differentiation.
Yeah, I think it's, and this kind of goes the same for many of our competitors. So having been on that team, I can say, number one, in comparison, if you're looking for a solution that was built specifically for mid-market customers, so designed for customers, let's say with low, say 10 million or around there, could be even below, low user count, and up to companies with, we have companies with 500 million, $1 billion in revenue, but still our product was really designed for mid-market. Many of the other products were not. They're kind of like the enterprise level product that has been brought down and is attempting to be a mid-market product. I think what you'd find is the pricing and affordability is far different. I think the options for deployment you will find would be extremely limited. The only way they go to market is in a SaaS model, so it's their cloud. With Acumatica, it can be in our cloud, it could be in any public or private cloud, it could be deployed on-prem. I think also you'd find with a product like that, you can only subscribe to the solution, whereas with Acumatica, you can actually own it. I think you would find that the number of ISV solutions that are appropriate for mid-market customers, we'll find a lot more options with Acumatica at this point because we're just designed for that marketplace. Now, for any of the other partners that are on the phone that may work or interface with that product, if you have anything to add to it, feel free to do so. And again, this is another thing, if you want to go into a deeper dive, we do some pretty serious competitive intelligence. So we can get into more details with you if that's important in a decision that you're making. But if anybody else has anything to add, please do so.
And Tune has an additional question to, or a comment to add. Beautiful, fully integrated ERP offer. So thank you for that, Tune. And then we have a question for Caroline. Does Starship integrate with Loomis? If not, what would be the cost to add it?
Starship does not currently integrate to Loomis. We have about 20-something direct integrations with carriers. Usually for adding carriers, it's more of a business case, business analysis to get that added to our development list. And if we don't have an integration to a carrier or 3PL, a lot of times our customers will utilize that user definable module I spoke of earlier. It's what we call, on the LTL side, it's the BOL module. Basically can keep the workflow the same. You can scan in the pro numbers. Those go back into Acumatica once the shipment's processed. Can actually put in a freight cost in Starship, and Starship will utilize the freight rules to determine the charges that will also go back on the shipment. So that's usually the option that our customers go with.
And then we have another question. One more question, guys. And I know we're 3 minutes over, so thank you for hanging in with us. And we are recording this webinar, Alexandria, so we will be sending this out after. Are all these ISV apps payable on a PCS basis?
Private cloud subscription basis. So each of our ISVs, in some cases, the ISVs will embrace our pricing and they'll price their product identically to Acumatica. Many times that happens, like for instance, with JUS and the advanced manufacturing solution that was developed specifically for Acumatica. So in some cases, it's the exact same pricing model. In other cases, each ISV has a different way that they price their solution. So that would, I can't make a blanket statement on that. That would have to be individual answers for each partner.
And we will take that offline too. Everybody's going to be back in touch with everyone who registered. So thank you so much again for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We really appreciate your time and learning about all these solutions that are integrated with Acumatica. And I'm going to go ahead and close out this poll. And thanks again, everybody. Don, thank you so much for putting all this together. We really appreciate all the presenters today sharing your solutions with us. And would anyone else like to offer any closing comments?
Well, I'd just like to say also a big thank you to all of our partners, because it's your solutions along with ours that delivers the complete solution for such a wide variety of customers. It makes us the most viable mid-market solution out there. So thank you, and thank you for the participation today, so everybody on the phone can be more informed about what makes this solution so much different.
And then we do have one more question in closing here. How do I go about getting my merchant statements analyzed? Patty, can you answer that question?
Absolutely. It's very simple. All we ask is that you send us 3 copies of your most recent merchant statements. We have a quick 24-hour turnaround where we can actually go back and inform you exactly how you can take advantage of level 3 processing and the rates and fees that we can propose.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We really appreciate your time once again, and stay tuned for the next webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.